So we've been talking about dilations. Remember, the big takeaway from dilations is the only one that involves changing the size of a given coordinate plane shape. With that, dilation is multiplication. And what we're still going to piggyback off of that, but we're going to talk about what dilation and how it affects area and perimeter of certain shapes, and really any shape. So big takeaway. Remember, dilation is multiplication. But when it comes to area versus perimeter, perimeter is what you more or less determine as like one dimensional, because we're just talking about the distance around. So all we do is multiply by the scale factor. Whereas area is technically two-dimensional because you're talking about length times width, 2 dimensions. So we're talking about scale factor squared. So big takeaway, perimeter, you keep the scale factor the same. Area, you square the scale factor. Let's talk about what it's going to look like. So if you look at number 1, we have a rectangle here, and it says we want to dilate it by a scale factor of 2. Well, first things first, let's talk about the perimeter of the shape. So the perimeter, think about how you found perimeter in years past, 6th and 7th grade. You add up all the sides. Well, if they only give me 2 of the sides, that means that the opposite side is the mirror image. So I'm going to add 6 plus 6, which is 12, plus 2, which is 14, plus 2, which is 16. So the perimeter of the first figure is 16. Now, remember what we talked about. Perimeter is multiplying by the scale factor, and that's it. So since the scale factor is 2, I'm going to multiply this 16 by 2 to find the new perimeter of a dilated shape. So 16 times 2 is 32, and that's your answer. Let's talk about area because it's the trickiest one. Well, perimeter, we add all the sides. Area, we do base times height. So in this case, we're going to multiply 6 times 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. That's the original area. But since we're talking about area, we not only multiply by the scale factor 2, we have to square the scale factor because it's two-dimensional. So 12 times 2 squared would be 48. And that's how you find the new area. So perimeter, we multiply by the scale factor. Area, we multiply by the scale factor squared. Let's do that again. So this time we're talking about another rectangle, 6 by 9. We are first going to find the original perimeter. That means add up all the sides. So 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 6, which is 24, plus another 6, which is 30. So the perimeter is 30. To find the new perimeter, we're going to multiply by the scale factor, and they say the scale factor is a third. So 30 times a third is 10. Whereas we do area, we don't add all the sides. We multiply base times height, so 9 times 6, which is 54. But we not only multiply by the scale factor, we multiply by the scale factor squared. So this is the part where the calculator would come in handy. Sorry, this has been charged. So you do 54 times, remember the shortcut for a fraction is alpha xton for the new calculators, 1 over 3. And then I'm going to square the scale factor. So it's 1/3 squared since it's area. And so the new area would be 6. The trickiest shape is going to be triangles because it's the one we forget about the most. Well, let's talk about perimeter first. Again, all we do is add up all the sides. So 12 plus 9 is 21, and 21 plus 15 is 36. So the original perimeter is 36. They want me to multiply by a scale factor of a third, and that's all I do. So 36 times a third is 12. That's the new perimeter. But the area is where we have trouble. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So I do 12 times 9, yes, but it's not a rectangle. So we have to do 12 times 9. And then divide by 2 since it's a triangle. So the area is 54. Now we're going to take that and multiply by a scale factor of 1/3. But since it's area, we have to square it. So 54 times 1/3 squared. So my new area is 6. Ironically, the same numbers as the one before. So you have to know how to be able to find the new perimeter, new area. Perimeter, you keep the same scale factor. Area, you do scale factor squared. Then you'll see questions like this, where what would be the multiplication you would do to find the new or old perimeter area? So this one mentions a parallelogram is dilated by a scale factor of 3, and they want me to find the new perimeter. Well, I just want to know how much bigger the new perimeter will be. So keep in mind, all I do is keep the scale factor the same. So it's going to be 3 times as big since the scale factor is 3. Whereas if we look at this one, where it's talking about a triangle and it's a scale factor of 4, it's talking about area. Well, remember, area is not just times 4, it's times 4 squared. And 4 squared is 16. So it's 16 times the old area. This one talks about a circle dilated by a scale factor of a half. And since it's talking about area, it's not just multiplied times a half, it's multiplied times a half squared. So you have to square it. So it's not multiplied by a half, it's multiplied by a fourth. This one says a hexagon is multiplied by a scale factor of a fourth with a new perimeter. Again, perimeter, you keep the scale factor the same, so it would be just a fourth times bigger, or smaller in this case. Then you'll see questions where they want me to actually find the new area, but they give me odd shapes. So for instance, let's start out easy, a triangle. Well, they don't tell me the sides of the triangle to find the area because they give me the area. They say the area is 35 feet squared. They want me to dilate it by a scale factor of 2. So remember, dilation just means multiplication. So 35 times 2. But since it's area, I need to square the scale factor. So it's 35 times 2 squared, which is 140. An octagon has an area of 156. So you don't actually have to find the area of that octagon, it tells us. And we're going to multiply it by a scale factor of a half. But since it's asking for the new area, we multiply by the half squared. So 156 times 1/2 squared, which is 39. This one says a parallelogram has an area of 24, and they want me to dilate it by a scale factor of 3/2. If it was just asking for a perimeter, I'd just do that. But since it's asking for area, I would do 24 times 3/2 squared, and that would be equal to 54. So again, the biggest takeaway is perimeter I multiply by the scale factor. Area I multiply by the scale factor squared.